All right, the class is being recorded. Okay, guys, thank you for joining today's class. I'm so grateful that we all could come on today. And thank you also for joining yesterday. Today's explanation of yesterday. So I talked about we have to complete our API design and talk a little bit about the testing part and try to do one test and see how it works. So now, do we have access to Postman? Just indicate with an emoji before we start that. Okay, so who else has access to Postman? Okay, so now before I start, I would like us to know that we are going to do an assignment, and I would like to know how many of us are interested before I. So if you're interested in the assignment, I will share later via email to indicate. Let me know. Okay, Diola, else? Yes, I'm interested. Okay, Shub, I'm interested. Rani, Lud, Victoria, Deleke. When I said Deleke, what ran through my mind was the video. But I was just thinking about the video. That was all. All right, guys. So let us start proper. So let me share my screen. If you see my screen, let me know. Okay, so for yesterday, we were able to create collection and added all the API requests possible that we could have yesterday, and we were able to publish. Now, to recap yesterday, what you can do, or when you're done testing everything, because the most important thing in API is for you to know how to test. So as an API writer, you need to know how to test, because that is the first step of designing it. Because what we published came out from what we tested here. You created an API request, you added all the necessary features, you tested it worked, you saved it. So when you want to publish it, this is what you get to see. Everything you did there, the get user by ID down to the query by this. So how you arrange it, how you find it here. So let's say, let me see if this will be possible. So we moved the crates to be at the top. So it's going to take a while. I don't know, it's taking some time to do that. So now we have it here. So how you arrange it is how you see it on the docs. Then I talked about categorizing it that will make it much easier for you to use or for your users, to find an API request. So you click here and you go over and click add folder. So you click on add folder, you give your folder a name. So you can give it sign in and have another folder called sign up. Right. We can have another folder called sign up. Okay, so let's say, for example, we have our clicks to be in the sign in and we have our get user to be in the sign up. So let's see. Let's reload. Adiola, okay. Adiola, you have a question?
Yes, I don't know if you are sharing because I can't see anything.
Okay, let me share. So let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, Justice, who else? So Adela, can you okay, okay. So if you create those folders, the reason for creating the folders is to categorize your API requests and make it easy for people to find. So now in technical writing, we have what we call information architecture, how you arrange or categorize your content so that people can find it. Let me use book that we are used to. So when you're going through a book, you know, at the first place, you always see the table of content that will have everything about the book. And the table of content come with some numbers. Maybe number one is introduction or overview. Under overview is introduction, this, that, installation. Chapter 2, you have that under chapter 3, you have, and they have numbers to it. So in case you stopped at number 24, you know, when you go, and again, when you open the book, you still see the number. So when you maybe close the book and go out next 3 months, you want to go back and you know you stopped at number 24. So the way for you to find it is to flip the book and look for number 24 there, or maybe number 24 under chapter 3, and you will see it. So that's the reason why we have that information architecture. So you can categorize your content and make it easy for people to find. So imagine you don't have those numbers there. You will find it definitely, but you have to, you know, spend a lot of time looking for that, and that is not good customer wise, you know, user wise. It's never good. So we also do that in API docs. Like I said yesterday, imagine you don't categorize it. It's going to be very difficult for people to use. Most especially when you have APIs, you have a lot of API, like you have over 100 and something API requests, or more than 20 API requests. So you need to categorize it so that people can easily find it. So whatever changes you make in the, I'm using desktop, you can also use, they have the cloud base, you can also use the cloud base. So if you come here, you will see your crates. You come here, you will see this. So, and you see how you can close it and you can open it, making it very beautiful. And one thing to note again is how they arrange the colors. So green is get, red is delete. Okay, post is orange or about. So using this color to differentiate the methods and making it beautiful also. So yesterday we did this and we arrived at this, and this is how it looks like. So, and it's not supposed to be like this because one, you need to explain what a credit reserve is, you know, add a few things to help people understand that, okay, this is the information you need to have, you know, in the create user, so people will know that, okay, this is what should be there, this is type. If there are parameters to explain, you also add the parameters and explain the parameters. So we're going to do that today. All right, so okay, now when you're on this page, what you have in your mind is, how can I go to the API docs page and start designing it? So remember, I'll post a video later so you will see how we go to the publish stage. So you go under your collection, you click and you see view documentation. Click view documentation and you have it. So if you're looking for the link, you can also, you see the published, click it, you see your link, click copy and you copy it. If you want to edit the publish, you click there to edit. So now this is, I'll call this one the API class. So we need to have an overview. So here you're going to explain to the users the major reason for this API documentation. So, and since we're having create user, so let's just give it a random name. Let's give it a random name. So let's say we call it user. Sorry, who is there? Can you mute? Thank you. Okay. User management. So just Now you see, I used because I'm using a Google Writing Style Guide. So API docs also involves using a writing style guide too. So you can use any writing style guide that that your team uses. But because this is a software related project, so I'm using a Google Writing Style Guide. And for Google Writing Style Guide, they prefer using a second person pronoun you instead of a first person pronoun or third person. So we use second person pronoun you because you're talking to whoever is reading these docs. So imagine you say the user management API allows us to create who is us. What if the person is one? How many persons are there? Just one engineer reading and putting us. So sometimes it might knock off people and probably confuse them more. So that's why we prefer using you instead of us. Or most of the time reduce the way you use we or I. All right. So user management API allows you to create and sorry. Okay, so I will just stop here because of time. So now we don't have any authentication, anything to authenticate the user to use API. But let me just add that section so you see how it works. So here you can just call this authentication. And I want you to notice something. See, they have two ways to edit. They have the Postman editor and they have the Markdown editor. So which one you prefer, you use. If you want to use Postman editor, you can use that to do it. But if you want to use the Markdown, let's say I want to bold, I want to make this to be a H2, so I'll use double hash, and at the end, I'll preview, and I'm having what I want. But if you decide to use Postman editor, you can see you have that here, heading 2, heading 3. You want to do heading 1, you do it very big. If you want to do heading 2, you also do this very come to the level you want. And something else again I would like us to learn is learn about formatting. So don't just start adding headers without knowing which one that should come before the other. So if you look at this, we have the heading 1, heading 2, heading 3 down to heading 6. So that is how you should arrange it. So you cannot have heading 2 here. So let's say you have what else? Wow. Okay. All right. So now let's say you have heading 2 above and you want to have a subtopic and you're now having, let's say you call it user, you're now having it as heading 1. What is wrong with Magda? So this is very, very wrong because heading 1 is supposed to be at the top. Let's say heading 1 is always your title. So you keep it at the top. Heading 2 will come next. Then whatever thing, whatever subtopic you're having should come under heading 3, heading 4, and normal text. So you don't have heading 2 at the top and immediately you're having heading 1. So that's not good. So I don't know what is wrong with the Postman editor. Okay, just adding this everywhere. Review. So that's why I prefer using that. Have a question. All right, Ruth, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, that was a mistake, sir.
All right. So anyways, we accept mistakes a lot here. Okay. So this is what we have. So we can just say to access. So remember, I talked about authentication is always accessing, telling the user this is how you can access our documentation. That is the essence of authentication. So to access API, This is just an example I'm giving. All right, then the next thing you have to do, if you check most popular API docs, they always have it. So remember, I talked about formatting. So the next that will come should be heading 3 and not heading 2 or heading 1. So let's call this. So you're giving them an example of how it look like. So I'm adding a code. No. Yeah. Okay. Now this is me telling them this is how it should look like. So you should have the bearer and your API token. So imagine I remove this here, you'll be confused. API token, is it my own or is it, so that's why it's very important for you to, know how to use words so you don't confuse people. So the your there, is the icing on the cake. So if the your is not there, API token, a lot of people might be confused. What API token? But once you see your API token, then you know that this is what you should add there. Then now you've talked about the identification and the headed example. You now need to tell them how to get your API token. So you can come under to access this. You can add a link here where they can go and generate the API token, or you tell them to generate API token, or you can come under and say generate API token, follow these steps and all that. You must tell them how to get it because they are not there to find it on their own. That is why they have a dedicated writer to help them access that. So the next step, you can start adding, maybe you want to add error codes. I think I have to switch. Let me see if I can use, is there a way to use table here? Okay, so let's come down a bit. Have here, this is table, okay. All right. Error codes, have a description. So you can say 400. So how can I add more? Okay, so let me switch to Markdown and see. So these guys are making it difficult. Okay, so that's the advantage of Markdown. So you need to learn Markdown. It's important because most times this might not be working the way you want, and you have to do Markdown. Okay, now so one thing I noticed, because before I would probably click save, but now once you're done, it automatically saves. So let us check here and see if it's saved. This notification header, the error codes. All right. So this is fine. So what do we have here? And what is it doing there? Okay, so one thing again, you should notice that when I created this folder, so the folder has its own folder description. So you need to describe it, telling the user this is the folder that houses this, or this is the folder that houses, you list the number of endpoints that you have underneath that. So something else that you should note also, where do we have this? All right. So if we come down, let us go to under the sign up, go to get user ID. You see you're having example requests, but this example request is for all kind of languages. So whatever language you change here, it's the language it will take for the example request. So this, but we need to add something else that would help the user understand more. And also you would see it has an example response. So eliminating you creating any response you want to create here. So this response will cover up for that. So to have a response under here, you save when you're done running this and you get a successful response. So you save as example. So look under here, nothing is here. So when you save as example, you're not having this and you're seeing this e.g, meaning an example. And it will save automatically. So nothing is here. So let us reload. Sorry, we have to reload again because it's going to take some time to come up there. Anyways, let's just go what we're doing, come back and reload again. So we can also try that example with this. So we have this. Let us try to create. So save as example. All right, let's reload. Okay, yeah. So this is the response we got. So we wanted to create with Paul. So we always use, this is an example. So don't use a real value for this example section. So use example so that users, because some users will take this, some hackers will want to start doing a lot of stuff with the value they have here. So example is always example. Don't use real values that are in database that would alter any user information. So we also did that for the create user, and we have this example response. So coming down, get all users does not have any, this does not have any. So as a user, you want to use this API docs. You have this example request and you have this example response. So it will be very clear to you that this is definitely something similar to this is what I will get if I run what they have here. And that's the truth. So one funny thing is I saved this as rows and you're having example response as this. So that's confusion number one. So always be watchful so you don't get to confuse your users or your customer service or whatever will have lots of questions to answer because people always like, why did you have this one and you're having the response as this one? So what happened? So always try to be watchful on that. So I said a few things yesterday that needs to be on an API docs. That one of them is the overview, and next is the endpoint. Let me go back to my slide again. Sorry, guys, I will still share the slide tomorrow. So what should the API docs include? So the request, the response, the error codes, and auth. So we have the authentication, and we have the error code. So my question is, looking at this error code, do you think it's okay the way it is, or there is anything we should do better? So drop it in the chat, or you can raise your hand. Let me call you so you speak. So look at this error code. Do you think it's okay, or something is missing? description should be added. Okay, something else. Look at it very well. Something else. I think I'm seeing something. I have more than one language, for example, request. Yeah, I will show you that. So I think several people wants to join. Okay, I've been accepting a lot of people. Should be added. We should add more error codes. Look at it again. Something is missing. Something is missing. Let me zoom it up. Something is missing. Check the chat. No, not 200. Something is missing. Let me take it again. All right, guys, look at it. At least, I guess it's very clear that you should know what is missing now. Something is actually missing. No. Yeah, somebody suggested that already. Who is that? Yeah, Israel, not 500. Let me go back again and give you guys a last chance now to look at it and tell me what is missing. Something is actually missing. Okay, now let me give you a clue. Looking at this, do you think you can easily notice the error codes? Four. No, even 504, not a problem. Okay, so for Shobo, what do you think is missing in the error codes? Looking at the error codes, starting from here, everything about the error codes, starting from here to here. So what do you think is missing? Now, description has been stated out. Color, not the color. It's plain, not plain. Format the heading. That's so Israel will lead us very fine. Thank you, Israel. So Israel, can you unmute your mic and tell us why still is format? Wow. All right, so drop it in the chat. So, but Israel is right. Formatting is a problem. So let's go over where is our user docs? So where is it under markdown? Okay. So looking at our slide, so request, response, error codes, alt, overview. It has the endpoint, it has the methods and parameters. So the parameter might not be necessary to some API requests. So I think we should have one that requests. Okay, so get user by ID. To get user by ID, then so because we have an ID that is a path parameter, we need to let them know what it means. So we can say path parameter like a table. So let me shake up your head again. So what should be here? What should be here and what should be under the description? Key value pair. No. So we have description and this, and under this you're having an ID. So something should let them know that this is what should be here. And also what I do right or by the description of the ID. What is an ID to this get user? So Israel is not a question. I want you to be sure. In technical writing, we're always sure. So are you sure it's parameter? Yes or no? Okay. All right. So, okay. So what should be the description right now? This is an ID. So what should be the description? So we now know it's a parameter. We now know it's an ID. So remember, get user by ID. So you need to explain to them what this ID is all about. That when you get it, you're getting an ID for a particular user. Okay, so let me stay here for a while and wait for you guys to fill that up for me. So remember, it saves automatically as typed. So this endpoint retrieves information about a particular user by ID. So this is the path parameter because you're explaining this. And now we have an example type of ID. Thank you, Chisum. Thank you so much. So we missed out something, and Israel did not get it this time around. Why? How are they going to add more table columns here? Okay. Again, let me use Markdown. Hmm. Did I scatter the table? Ah, okay. Let's see if I scatter the table. Hmm. Okay. Uh, ID. So Chisom said object ID, example object ID. So unique value that fetches the user information. Okay. Israel is Israeli not here. It's come here, so Israel said this. So what is the type? Thank you for calling that out. Us, Chisom. So what is the type? So let me just write. Let's go for So we have everything about the get user. Let us check if it's looking very okay. So we reload. So we have to wait for some time. So post get user by ID. So this endpoint retrieves information on a particular user by ID string, a unique value that fetches the user information. And we have the example request, and we have the example response here. So looking at the get all users, do you think it's everything is okay or we are missing out anything? The get all users endpoint. Type is number. What makes type number? Seeing D there, I'm seeing F and C. So that can be number. So guys, back to my question. Get all users. Do you think we need to add anything? Look it as a user. You want to use this get all user endpoint in your project. So do you think everything we have on the screen right now would help you understand how to implement it and probably the possible things you get to see if you run it successfully? So show that to us. Let us see. You get all users is in the description of the endpoints, including a sample response. Okay. So now the next question is, what should be the description? So now let us add, we need the review and example response. So let's go and add the example response. So that is gets all users. Get all users. Okay, so we already have that here. So let us run, and again we have it. So we save as example. We have it there. We go back and try this. So get all users, we now have the example response. So let's do the delete. We have done the get user by ID. So I would like you guys in the chat to fill this up for me. Everything about the get. Sorry, everything about the delete. So I think I'm seeing something that needs to be modified. So this is an assignment right now. Look at this delete by ID and tell me if everything is okay. Now tell me what needs. Now I'd like you guys to just first tell me the current issues about this. Then the next is now the solution. So let me leave it for now so you guys will look through. You can't see it clearly. Okay. Yes, it's very clear now. Okay. All right, let me go back again. Shubo, I hope it's clear now. Okay, I guess your time has elapsed. I did not get the question. Okay, let me go back again. So the question is, look at this API request, delete by ID. First, tell me what is wrong with it, or probably what is missing, then the solution. Okay, is there, I'm waiting for more because I think what we have there is more than just that. Okay, yeah, you have to drop the solution. So just drop it. Maybe it's possible if you can just maybe number it 1, this is missing 2, this is missing 3, this is missing solution, this one needs to be there and all that. Are we actually doing this? Let me be sure. Hi guys, just indicate if you're actually doing these assignments. Hello. Yes, trying to think it through. Okay, all right. Okay, let me go back to the assignment again. So look at this and tell me what is missing and what should be added. Let me come back to this. Example response that shows, I don't know the API documentation, but I think this one is missing. It's an example response that shows that an attempt to delete was successful or not. Okay. Overview of the delete by ID example response path parameter. Overview of the delete by ID. Okay. Example response path parameter. All right. So now the solution, guys. But you guys are missing something. Let me go back again. I want to go back again. So look at this very well. Now, what Israel and other people, stated there is correct. The response is not there. The description is not there. And okay, the path parameter. Did you guys talk about that? Or did I just say that? Okay, Israel said that. Now, when you normally check job descriptions, they always say attention to details. There is a reason why they put that, because they want people that have that ego eye to always spot something. So I want to know who has that ego eye in this class. Look at this very well and tell me what is missing. You guys have stated almost everything but one thing. Just one. Come back again and see if somebody will drop something. Not that. So now we need the get method, so we don't have any request body to add. Let me go back again. Look at this very well and ask yourself one question as a user. Okay, let me just say that. But just look at it very well and tell me what is missing. Something is missing. Something is missing. Check. The URL should have something like ID. The URL should have something like ID. This is what we have here. This is ID. Then ID equals to this. I can't hear you. Okay, can you hear me now, Israel? Okay, let me give you guys the last chance. So, not that one. Everybody have stated about the response already, but something else. Now, look at it again. Effiong is close to that. Or I don't know, Effiong, are you a she? Let me not call it she here, he, she. So Effiong is close. We need to add something to make it very clear so that users will know what needs to be there. Look at this very well. Delete the method linked by ID, and you have the ID. You are having the ID there. So Effiong is close. He. All right, sorry. So he is close to getting one of them. Okay, guys, let me give you guys the last chance again. I really want you guys to crack your head and just bring it out. I don't want to give you guys a clue because you guys will catch it very fast. Look at it very well and tell me what it is. It doesn't involve those features that needs to be on an API docs. You guys have covered everything. The response, the request, the description, the path parameter, the table. Yes, I know it's missing. But now something else is missing that requires attention to details. Read line by line and tell me if this is clear or not. If this would help you understand that this is this or not. Look at that very well. We have two things here. Effiong is close. I wish he would get the one he's working on right now. But the second one, nobody is close to that. So look at it and look at it. Okay, now let me give you guys a clue now. The problem or the problems. This is where you get the two problems. Now tell me problem. The problem with the first one, problem with the second one, something is wrong somewhere. Let me go and see if guy got the last comma on the settings. Replace this with this. Israel, thank you. Thank you. You got the first one, the last comma. Comma is not a problem. Comma is not a problem. So Israel, I said Israel. Effiong, I think the versions, no. So Effiong, I think you're very close. Since you've gotten that one. Okay, now guys, let me make it easy for you. The first problem is this. The second problem is here. It's here. Now, tell me what the problem is. We now know where the problem is right now. Now, tell me what the problem is. So we had problems, and now we have problem. So that's progress. I think somebody will get it. Do you? No. It should be deleted. But I said Effiong is close. So Effiong, open. If you unmute your mic, have you unmute your mic? Thanks a lot, ma'am. So tell me how you arrived at that. Tell me you
Good
can
evening,
use.
everyone. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So, the aim, like you said earlier, is to be very clear and avoid being confusing the user. So, delete by ID is a bit confusing. What exactly are we deleting by ID?
Mm. So why didn't you get it earlier?
No be small thing. Blockhead no gree.
All right, thank you so much. So now the ID. So how did you now arrive at that ID?
I just feel that putting that ID there in that code or whatever there should not be there. It could be anything. The ID could be any digits, any combination of digits and numbers. So putting ID is better than putting that there. So I just thought so.
All right, thank you so much, man. Because I knew you're very close, and I know that you definitely be the one to get it because you're close. All right, thanks. So let's proceed. All right, so let's go back to the testing part. So which one are we going to start with? This one. All right, so I talked about tests. That test is very important. We normally test so we are sure that the APIs are all working fine. So that's the reason why we have tests there. So there are certain things you want to test out for. And we have a snippet here that would help us with that. So yesterday we added a global variable. I guess we have a global variable, this, okay. So Postman is easy. So watch, after clicking this, I can just quickly go back to, where was I? Create these examples. Try to close some tabs so you don't have a lot of things that would make looking for something difficult for you. Looking for posts. All right, so if you want to check for the global variable, you can use this code snippet to do that. If you want to get a variable, you added a variable, you want to be sure that that variable is there, you can also add that. Then you have the collection variable, added the collection variable, so you need to test. Now, the reason is with this is most times when you work with a team, you're not the only one editing this particular API docs and testing. You need to add all these tests because you don't know if your teammate might have removed something or the other about. And when you just test is working, you just post. And when you post, your users, now you did not know that actually there's an error, and your users will just catch up that and start complaining. I was testing this and I had this issue and I had that issue and this problem is up and this problem is up. So that's why we need to always test. And also, sometimes you have errors, so you need to test for 200. Now let us test for status 200 to see if we run this, get status 200. So we have 201. And so this is coming from the engineer, not my fault. So now let us check for 201 since we're getting now 201 is still successful. So looking at our test, is pass, or we put 200 showing fail because the response they used is 201. So you use 201 and you run your test and it will tell you this is true. And now pre-script is also like that. So you might want to get your global variable. You want to be sure that the global variable is available before you are running, actually even running your request. So like, let us check. We have a global variable, get to global variable. What's the variable key? With TY. Let's see. Okay, that's 200. So let us check TU. Something is wrong. Our global variable. Variable name is TY. So prescript needs to run Anyways, I will get back to the Postman team and ask them how this miracle thing is working up, because we don't have anything like TU in the global variable. All we have is TY alone. Okay, let me check blank and see if it's going. Everything is passed. Okay, thank you, Postman. So now you have all these snippets and you might want to test for something else. So you might want to check if your endpoint has, okay, the endpoint is user. If the user has an S, there are certain things you want to check out for. You just start doing the stuff. Or you want to check if the response you're getting is a JSON response or an HTML response or any response. You can do that. So now let's say you are not too technical and what you want is not in this code snippet and you want to do something else. So you can click on this write script. So already, sorry, wait, let me make this bold. Sorry. All right. So you have test for response, visualize response. These are just samples you can work with. Save a field from the response. So you can also save a field from the response. So you tell it the field to save, it will save it for you, or fix text. So add more text. So let's say we're testing for, okay, let me get suggestion from you guys. So what should we test? So we have our body, full name, email, address. So what should we test for? Shouldn't be deleted by ID. Okay. All right, yeah. So what should we test for? And for email. All right, so I said it should test for, okay, you should check if the request body has a field called email. So I run. This is what we have here. So you're saying test request body has a field called email. So request body, expected request body to have email. All right, so let's run. And it's failing already. Request body has this. Okay, so I'll ask for more. First, what we okay, let's check. All right, so now this is where the technical part comes in, because I looked at the error and I decided to search, ask for more, and it got it right. So see the request body. Now this is the request body. So I did not add raw. So remember, when you click on the request body, you have to click raw, then you write it. So request body, I believe it went to search under none. So you need to specify, is it under form data, XW, raw, binary, or graph? So I said, okay, check under raw to see if you see the email, and it's going to say, now PM, this is the variable, so I wouldn't want to explain it, that request that body.raw. So PM expect the request body to include email. Now you have email here. So you can also check full name. And also because of that, you need to change your test name here to full name, so whoever is checking that will not get confused. So this is how you use post-put. Use it and learn more. So guys, if the name has a certain length, okay, let's check this one. Okay, right. Okay, test. First for the raw as it called email. For the check. Wait for the or to correct for the length. But and it's filling up and down. Filling up and down. Request body cannot read properties of request body the raw. Request body does include this. Request body with raw has a field called email and its length is 4. Cannot read properties. Okay, let me try this. Yes. What is problem? So that's one problem with AI. Tampered with what was working before. Okay, so we don't want to spend so much time on this, but this is how you play around with the Postman bot. So we can spend a lot of time trying to resolve this issue and to know what is the problem. So let me try to take it back and see if we can get that includes this. Okay, please include. Anyway, so that's it, guys. So we can find some other time to go through the test and run more tests. Or if the name or email I was string. Yeah, that I guess you have a snippet for that to check. Request body is equal to string. Spelling. Email joke. So you need to specify which of them you wanted to check if it had a string or not. Or request body contain string. This is going to fail because okay. Can we use it to check that there are no null values? Yes, you can use it to check for anything at all. To check if the email value has at. Really rapidly. Good. Let me see if I could correct this. Check if the email field content add symbol. expected full name. Look. In the email. All right. So we need to take some time to debug this, but it will help you to do anything at all. So you can go for that to start asking for help. You copy this error and tell it to resolve this. So let me try this one more time. We don't want this to go and start changing things for us. Okay, so let's say fix. So actually, it's not even fixing the test. I guess it's complicating everything. All right, so they rightly stated so that it's not perfect. So you still need human eyes to write the test more. So it's not perfect, but at least it's going to help you to write simple tests and also complicated tests like this. And you need to take your time to go through it to start looking for what the problem is. So if we want to do that right now, we're going to spend some time trying to resolve test. So, but that's the power of Postboot. Okay, guys. So, do you have any question? Any question, guys? Hello, guys. Any questions so far? Okay. So, if no question, I would have your emails already if you registered for the events. If can we write the test? Yes, you can. You already have that space to do that. This is where you start writing your test. So you're doing that without AI, but right now you have AI. AI is now doing all that. So can we get a full recording of this class? Yes, I will do that tomorrow and I will put it on our YouTube channel. So if you've not subscribed yet, let me send the link. Do where to subscribe. Okay, so I have your emails. I will send everything across the assignment. Then, and thank you for those that said they will attempt the assignment. So I will send it across and you will attempt the assignment. So thank you so much for joining this class, and we'll still have some other classes coming up on different other topics. So like I said in our last class, by February, we'll be having our New Year cohort, which is cohort 3, because that's the third cohort. And for those that are here, Victoria and Peace Sandy, they can tell you how the last one went and can tell you what they've achieved so far on that. So we'll be having it next year. And theirs was very lengthy, 6 months. They enjoyed, and they are praying for it not to end. But every program must end, for sure. It must end. But anyways, we'll be having ours next year. So if you want to join, that's fine. If you have anybody you also would like you to bring the person on board. By December, we're putting out the waiting list. So for those that want to get, because I think this time we need to probably screen a lot of people. So we'll put out the waiting list. So you'll be the first to get an email invite for that. Can I get the full preview of the? Yeah, I would put that tomorrow. So what's the importance of path parameters? Do we have to write it for all folders? No, you don't, if it's necessary. We only did that because the delete user by ID has a path parameter ID. The get user by ID has a path parameter ID. So that's the reason why we added it there. But for the create user does not have any path parameter. So there is no need to add it. You only add that when necessary. So maybe have a query parameter, you have the query parameter session for you to make it clear for the users. All right, so back to what I was saying. Our classes is starting up next in February. I don't know the dates, but it's next in February. And okay, so let me have Victoria come give us a little overview of this cohort, so you guys will probably feel that from her. Then next we have this Sunday. So Victoria.
Hi, good evening, boss. Thank you so much for the training and the cohort. So first off, we started with having classes, I think almost like literally every weekend. We taught different parts in technical writing. We taught user guides, installation guides, documentation. We were aligned to direct mentors who checked our assignments, who reviewed it before we published it to either Medium or Ashnode. Then the assignments and the continuous community calls that we had really helped. And then we also talked about having to, do portfolios like Linktree or Consenter, and then also using our social media platforms for technical writing. But so far, the cohort has been. I cannot underestimate the importance of us having that cohort and then having mentors that we could speak with to assist with a lot of things. Personally, for me, it was really helpful and it was really important. Every aspect, the user guides, the installation guides, even the documentation using Mac Docs. It was a very nice journey so far. Thank you so much, boss.
All right, thank you. So let's hear from Ruth. I can see my friend Ruth is here. Ruth Charles.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Let me 450 give them. Okay, good evening, everyone. Okay, I'm Ruth by name. I've been introduced. I was part of the last cohort, and it's it was wonderful. Wonderful is an understatement, if I must say. So we learned a lot. We were assigned to personal mentors. Okay, we started off with the introduction to technical writing. At first, it got intense, and at the first start of the assignment, anyone that didn't pass, or anyone that no not pass, anyone that didn't submit was asked to leave or left, and then our numbers reduced drastically. Then we had assignments on the Chrome user guide, using Upright as a case study. That was our first assignment. Then we had another assignment that we wrote about glass. That one came with a reward, and the best was giving a gift card worth over $100 or so. So we had another task. We learned a lot. We even taught SEO, which is search engine optimization. We had Google courses on analytics. The class was so intense and it was so enjoyable. We had to interact with other class, and so I will not forget the most enjoyable part of this whole thing was that we had travel weeks. That once in a while we had to win something. Yeah, and I actually partook in it, and luckily for me, I won 5,000 naira. Yeah, that helped me with my data subscription for at least a while. So it was actually so intense, so sweet. We learned a lot. It's actually a memorable one. You actually interact with people. There's every tendency, there's every assurance that you're not living the way you came, even if it's just with something. Yeah, you're living into it. You're living with at least even you're living with it with an eye, even when it did not come with an eye. You understand? So it's actually a mind blogging, and it's changing. It will change your. It's the testimony. If I want to start talking, I will not even end. So just know that technical writing mentorship is a real deal. It's actually the real deal, and it's worth every of your time. Is worth every of your data. Is worth every eye you put on the screen. Believe me. Thank you once again, Sir Wisdom. Thank you, Blessing. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you, Victoria, and thank you, Charles. So I guess we still have other ones here. We have Satonia and all the rest, but we don't have that much time. So I just want you guys to hear from them, so it's not looking like you're only hearing from me. So the program will come up soon, and I would like you guys to get up to learn for that. All right, so do you have any question concerning API documentation or probably about the program? That's why I could answer that before we close the call.